Hello and welcome to PPC Live, the podcast. My name is Anu, the founder of PPC Live. And if you're used to hearing from PPC experts about how to ensure that we are keeping up with the ever-changing landscape, don't worry, you are still in the right place. But instead of relaying what the PPC experts are saying, I'm going to be bringing the PPC experts to you. Every week, I'm going to be speaking to a different PPC expert about their biggest F up, but also how they turn things around. So we're never leaving things on a defeated note. This is all about learnings and how to ensure that you don't make the same mistakes. So this week we had the fantastic guest Aisha Youssef, who has been a speaker at PPC Live. So any audience members who have been to PPC Live, you know what she's about. You know she's all about e-commerce and really driving growth for e-commerce clients, especially. And she talks about a big Black Friday F up. So yeah, that was really brave of her. We're really grateful for her sharing that story because that is not easy to share. So yeah, we learn about the things, the do's, the don'ts, and who was supportive, who was surprising with her, and how she just really turned it around and still ended up having a great relationship with her clients. So let's go speak to Aisha. Hello, Aisha. Welcome to PPC Live, the podcast.
Hi, Anu. Thank you so much for having me.
It's such a pleasure. Aisha has always been just such a brilliant, like joyful person. That smile you see on your face, I have not seen Aisha without that smile ever. And I love that it was when we met in Manchester for Charlie Brennan's performance MCR that we actually realized that we live next to each other, almost next to each other, like in the same neighborhood. And we're like, we've got to hang out. So it's really nice to have someone in the marketing world who lives like maybe like 10, 20 minutes away from me. And if I'm all stressed out and I need to meet someone in person, which I love, I can do that with Aisha. But yeah, more about the lovely lady Aisha you've got in front of you. She is a paid media e-commerce specialist, especially helping most recently the likes of Iceland. She's very values led and a performance focused, and she's very passionate performance marketing specialist with 10 plus years experience. Top global agencies. And what do we mean by top? We're talking the likes of Essence, MediaCom, Tug Agency. We've got Mindshare on there as well. So yeah, really being successful at helping them in. We're talking from a manager to account director level. And right now she's also set up her own consultancy, What Matters Media Limited, as a marketing consultant to especially help, women-led brands who might be overlooked by some of the bigger agencies who feel like, oh, they're not doing what matters for them. So she's all about, really helping those kind of brands to get ahead and succeed in the field that they're in. So yeah, really, really great expert to have with us today. Aisha as well, fun fact about her, she loves playing paddle, and it's been a very tough time to get me on the same schedule as well. She's been trying hard. I love that. How did you get into playing paddle? That because it's almost like a sport that I think to myself, I'm not, is it tennis? Is it not tennis? What's it like? Tell us a bit about paddle.
Oh, it's so good. You need to come and play. I was actually playing this morning down in Catford in the rain, but it's very easy to get into. And if you've played anything before that's a racket sport, so tennis, squash, badminton, but I feel like it's most like table tennis, like ping
Okay.
pong. So we all played that before. So it's just
Yeah.
like a big ping pong.
It's like yeah, it's like playing like big
Big
ping pong
ping
on a
pong.
bigger scale. Big ping pong. That's
Yeah.
a paddle company should use that as their branding. Big ping pong.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's get into talking about, what we're here for. Like, really grateful again to all my guests, especially you, Aisha, for being brave enough to talk about, an F up that you've experienced. It could be something recent. It could be something from way back. We're all hearing about successes on LinkedIn and the likes, but I think we learn the most from when something went wrong. And I don't think there's any expert like those the true experts, our true gurus that, wouldn't admit that, yeah, there were times that they did F up and, it's from rising back up from those challenges that led them to being the expert today. So yeah, let's take it over to Aisha. What F up would you like to share with us today?
Oh, well, there's plenty to choose from, that's for sure. So the F up that I've chosen to speak about today was a few years ago. And of course, we're not naming names, but I was agency side.
Hmm.
And it was at one of the larger agencies as well. And it was, I'll set the scene.
Oh,
It was
tell us a
before,
story.
I will tell you a story, yes. So it was Q4. We were in Black Friday week.
Mm.
And it was a part of this strategy to remove the ad scheduling from some of our campaigns that turned campaigns off at certain times, because historically those are not good times for us. But as we know, people search at very different times during Black Friday day, Black Friday week. So I had instructed the team. I had a team of about 6 or 7 people at the time.
Mm.
I just said quite simply, please, will you remove the ad schedule from our top 6 markets for the remainder of the weekend?
Yeah.
And they did exactly that.
Okay.
Now, I think it's one of the things as we get into more automation, some of the newer execs, the more junior execs don't really know the nitty gritties so much, or like the manual side of the campaign. So they did that and they removed the ad schedule. And any of the PPC old timers like myself knows that that means that your ads won't be running at all because they just removed it. Oh.
Okay.
And instead of just
Wow.
putting a 0 throughout all of the days of the week and all of the times, they removed it. So those particular campaigns didn't actually run for the whole of Black Friday.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, big effort.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So
Big
it
one.
didn't, and how was it discovered? How's
It
that discovered?
wasn't actually discovered until the next day.
Okay.
So the next day it was discovered. So because it was only on a selection of campaigns, not the whole account, some
Okay.
of our alert systems didn't send a signal because, some of our alerts were like, okay, so if there's 0 impressions in this account, then send an alert. But of course, there was impressions, there was clicks, there were conversions. It was just much lower. And because performance was very good and some of our other campaigns were still working hard, we
Yes.
overlooked these particular sets of campaigns throughout our top 6 markets.
Uh,
So
so we're talking, so it didn't, was it, you said that you set the schedule and then the day after you guys set that schedule, you noticed the error. So it's not like it was actually, you guys then put it back up running while Black Friday was still able to. No, so
they
those
missed the whole
campaigns,
of Black Friday
we missed the whole of Black Friday, so it was only noticed, like, let's say the day after Black Friday had
on
ended, kind of thing.
Saturday.
On the Oh my Lord. Okay.
On the Saturday.
Who picked up on it?
So it was actually one of the managers, and we were looking at the day performance because we had a check-in on the Saturday, which, of course, that's what you do when you work in e-commerce.
Yes.
And it was very much like, oh, these our performance was good, but it wasn't amazing. And then when we started to think about why is this, and I just had that sudden, it's like the opposite of a light bulb moment.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
There's
where the blood rushes out of your body and you're literally just like a bit of fear hits you. Yeah,
the
I know.
fear, and I was like, I know what this is. I know exactly what this is, because we started to see this certain type of campaigns just, those are the ones that, weren't getting the traffic, the conversions, whatever. And it was in that moment I knew exactly what had gone wrong. This very short sentence to-do list, going through everyone's to-dos for the week. And it was, please can you remove the ad schedule?
Yeah, yeah,
And that's what did it. And in that
yeah,
moment, yeah, the opposite of a light bulb, I actually physically felt sick because I realized how bad that was.
yeah, yeah. So how did we go about trying to solve the issue? Like, or how did you go about letting the client know even what was the experience with your manager as well?
Yeah, so in that moment, I knew that I had to escalate it and tell my head of department.
Hmm?
But I just took a moment to pause first. So took a moment to pause, had a look at the accounts and started to quantify what the actual issue was. Well, first of all, I put those campaigns live again,
Yes, of course.
get
Yes.
them live. And then I just started to quantify. And once I got a bit of an understanding, I immediately wanted to bring in my head of a department.
Mm.
So I had to text her because remember, this was a Saturday.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I had to text her and be like, hey, I'm so sorry. Something pretty bad has happened and I just need you to be aware of it. And yeah, I just had to go through all of the reasons why it was overlooked, why the alerts didn't work, and started to quantify it. And what we did is just work together. Obviously, I was doing the work, but under their instruction, just to make
Yeah.
sure that we were on the same page, just to get ready to present the findings, what went wrong, and have a bit of a solution of how we can be better in the future, ready to present to the client first thing on Monday morning.
Okay. And how did the client take it?
Well, they were not happy,
Yeah.
but they weren't really mad either.
Okay. Okay.
Because it was only a certain selection of campaigns, and they felt that those campaigns were not as important as the other campaigns that continued running.
Right.
And the way that me and my head of department framed it was, well, we can have a look at a bit of a test of like what the impact would be without these campaigns and how the other campaigns interacted. So, I did a lot of work over that weekend, and that's kind of like how we teed it up to them. We owned up to the mistake, but
Mm,
we gave them some learnings from the mistake and
yeah.
sort of fixed it. So it wasn't that bad.
Okay. So you framed it up as to actually, this is the information we've gotten from it. This, it was not intended for these campaigns to not be live. And even like in terms of the performance for Black Fridays, where targets missed, like revenue targets and that kind of stuff. For like, because I imagine every time during Black Friday, there's a whole, this is what our goal based on what we did last year or the year before. Were those numbers okay, or is it really off?
We actually just about hit our target,
Wow.
and we had a bit of an underspend because we didn't spend on these particular
Yeah.
campaigns. So even though it was really important and it felt like the end of the world
Yeah.
when it happened, and it's still the biggest F up that I've been a part of,
Yeah.
just because it was a complete oversight.
Yeah.
I think that's the scary part, just complete oversight.
Mm.
We actually managed to frame it and that they still hit their targets. We haven't spent sort of all the budget, and we've got some learnings from it. And
Yeah.
more importantly than anything, this was like we had multiple brands of this particular client.
Uh.
And luckily, this is going to sound bad, but luckily, later on in the week, one of their other brands really had a real F up.
Okay.
What saved us because then they had to change what they were looking at
Yeah.
from us
Yeah.
to
Refocus, absolutely. And I think that is also something that is really important. Like, that's what we even started with saying this. Everybody's gonna make an F up every so often. And so whilst you're sitting here thinking about, oh my God, I've messed up. Somebody else has done it and everybody has actually forgotten about your error. And now we're refocusing on someone else's F up. And that's now becomes, all of a sudden you become yesterday's news. Yesterday's like, like, what is it? Today's news is tomorrow's fish and chips wrapper, right?
yeah.
It's like, you're now like, yeah, we don't care about that anymore. We don't care about that anymore. Another person has made another royal F
Yeah.
up. We need to try and fix that as well. So that's really nice to hear. It sounds like you had a very supportive manager who didn't also give you a full, like, make you feel worse than we're already feeling. I feel like that sounded like your manager was quite supportive. Am I right?
Yeah, they were pretty good. And I think for me as well, like they really wanted to know who was it in my team that made this error. And I
Okay.
just made sure that I actually refused to give a name. I
Okay.
think I can be like my managers, like
Yeah.
pain in the butt sometimes. But I didn't give them their name because at the end of the day, I instructed the team. This exec had a manager above them. And when I actually told the team, what had gone wrong and what the error was, they didn't know. They didn't know that they had made a mistake. because they
Yeah.
didn't have knowledge
Yeah.
about ad schedules.
That's very honestly, I think
Mm.
that is very kudos to you to say that you protected your team. It was like you realized like you were the ones that gave an instruction. Like, your manager then going like, who was it? Who's the one that did it? Who's the one that messed up? Like, yeah, I've said that on previous episodes about the fact that when issues like this happen, yeah, maybe at some point you want to make sure that the learning gets to the person who did the thing. But finger pointing, the whole blame, like, okay, who is it to blame? Who are we going to tell the client that was the person? Like, that's not important. Actually
Mm.
fixing the issue. How do you communicate to the client so that they see it as a positive story and not, is what is really
Mm.
important. So kudos to you, Aisha. Like, oh, I love that. I love that. That's such a sense of integrity. That's someone with amazing integrity that I hope people are listening to this and going, I want to work in a team where I have a manager like Aisha who's going to protect me when something like that goes wrong. Because like, and I get it. I feel like even in the way you've even presented this story, you've been very, very like brave and very mature to be like, I gave the instructions. So technically, maybe I should have probably, okay, in fact, let me not even write your story here. Let me let you tell it. Like, how did that make you feel in terms of what did that teach you in terms of instructing your team in terms of how to implement certain actions? Let's have you
Yeah,
tell her.
that's it. Especially agency side, it's so fast. We've all got so much to do. And then e-commerce and Black Friday, we've got a massive stack of a to-do list, each and every single one of us.
Mm,
And I kind of had it in my head, and I think that's what haunts me more than anything. When I
mm,
said to remove the ad schedule, I said to the manager, and then it got to the exec, and I was like, "Do you know how to do it?" And because my team were very good,
yeah,
I just believed them a bit, which is great to believe them for sure. But I hadn't seen them work with ad schedules before, and I didn't want to be like a micromanager, so I didn't
yeah,
show them, but I had it in my head that I wanted to show them exactly what to do, but then I got really busy. So I guess it's quite hard to sort of move on from it because you think, "Oh, I wish that I had showed them that one thing." But
yeah,
I guess the main learning from it is that even though if your team is really good and very successful all the time, don't overlook sometimes as a manager actually showing them the basics, even if they say, "Yes, I know what I'm doing. It's okay." And just go, "Actually, well, I'll just show you. And if you know
yeah,
already, then that's fine.
yeah,
But I'm just gonna it literally take 30 seconds, I'll show you." And I wish I had done that,
yeah.
because obviously it would have saved me at least a whole weekend working on it, that's for sure, and a lot of stress.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, yeah, we need to remember that for, those like, it was Black Friday.
Mm.
I would say that if it was going to be like, a BAU kind of day, it's not as important to be like, oh, let's make sure we got it right. But like on Black Fridays kind of thing, holidays,
Mm.
there are times when you're like aware things are going to spike up, double checking people's work. It's not a oh, you don't trust your team. It's
Mm.
like you want to make sure that when your manager goes, has it been done right? You're not just relying on, okay, I'm sure it has been done right because I know my team, but you
Yeah.
check as well. And I think that, yeah, that's a big lesson for like with managers. I think we can do the whole, oh, my team are perfect. And
Mm.
yes, you are, but when it's like key dates, Black Friday, big holiday, all eyes need to be on the
Yeah.
ensuring that the right thing has been done for those special cases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the interesting thing though, because the exec did have the manager check, but they thought that it was right. They both just
Yeah.
didn't know, so
Yeah.
but yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Hey,
Things
we're
happen.
learning. Things
Yeah.
happen. And how do you do things differently based on that story?
I just show people how to do things sometimes, especially if it's these more like sort of like older style things.
Yeah.
I think that new execs and managers are very good with strategies, they're fine with creatives, but these more older style, even like campaign types, slightly older ones like DSAs.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not as quite as good at them. They're probably more familiar with like PMAX. Sometimes the ad schedule is definitely a good one. Like any of these things that are a little bit more hidden.
Yeah.
Um, what else? Some of the um ad extensions as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're not using them as much. And I think maybe it's okay to be slightly micromanagey when it comes to Black Friday as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Slightly
Mm.
micromanaging when it comes to like, yeah, the big events definitely is a good way to have us and that's a part of the story. So yeah, Aisha, thank you so much for sharing that story. Now let's switch the spotlight to, as a consultant, you might have seen accounts, maybe even when you first took on Iceland or others, big
Mm.
efforts that you've gone seen other advertisers are doing in 2025 that you're like, oh guys, we should have stopped doing this by now, or this is not the right way to approach this new technology. It could be an AI thing, ideally an AI thing, but it doesn't have to be. What's a big effort that you think that we experience that you've seen other advertisers experience?
Yeah, I mean, so many come up. I do audit quite a lot of accounts,
Yeah.
and some of the same things that happen over and over again. So it's like one would be segmenting campaigns too much. That
Right.
is still happening.
Okay.
I just audited an account last week and they have too many campaigns split out. And I don't know what the difference is because it might be all products, all products, all products in each of the
Okay.
campaigns, but like slightly different audience targeting.
Okay.
So it just seems like too much of a dilution of their campaigns, especially when they're not getting that many conversions.
Yeah.
See that happening all of the time, over segmentation of campaigns.
Over segmentation for sure. And so yeah, let's teach people a few things here. So when you're talking
Mm.
about like audiences, what's your best practice right now for that?
I mean, unless you have a meaningful reason to segment your campaigns by audience type,
Hmm.
then we should really be taking slightly more of an approach for Google Ads, slightly more similar to Meta Ads these days.
Okay.
So really starting more broad and then learn, and only if it's needed and required for your campaigns, then segment by audience. And for that, it would be really if you really didn't want to be targeting, say, for example, your existing customers. That's something that I see quite often, which I think is good.
Yeah.
But otherwise, targeting all of your products and then just having like a competitor audience and then the same all of your products and with no competitor audiences, I think the benefits of actually having all of your data together in fewer campaigns would outweigh the segmentation between the two. It's not really required.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not really required. Yeah, exactly. So it's not about just going through a template of like, okay, that's how other people are doing it, so I'm gonna do it this way. Actually look at your data. Look at what will make sense for your data, for your audience, for the volume that you're seeing for different audiences before you
Mhm.
actually think about segmenting it out. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you have like a smaller account, you may be getting just about 30 conversions per month. Maybe you're only spending £1,000, £2,000, something like that. It it it's very unlikely that you'll be segmenting by audience type at that level.
Yeah. Yeah. No, go on. Sorry, you were going to say something.
And as well, just to lean into the AI part of that,
Yeah,
obviously,
please.
this is predominantly because we're all using bid strategies, right? That's
Uh-huh.
the best way to win in an auction now. And the more data that you can give that bid strategy, which is set at campaign level, the better it's going to perform for you. So instead of having, say, 15 conversions coming through this campaign, 20 conversions through a different campaign, have them all going through one and you'll get better performance out of it because the bid strategy has more learnings to feed its AI technology and actually find those people regardless of the audience based on if they're going to convert or not, which is your primary objective.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, that totally makes sense. And yeah, okay, now just going general into the talk about how much we do talk about these errors that we make.
Mhm.
I don't know about you. I don't see it's mostly about the wins, I'm doing, AI Max is working well for me. We're getting the conversions, or I'm hitting my revenue targets, and I'm hitting all of that kind of thing. Why is it important for us to talk about when things go wrong?
Well, I just think that it gives a more truer picture.
Yeah.
You know, me and you like to have a good chat, Anu,
Yeah.
and hearing this stuff all the time. And it could even be like, I've won 5 clients and I've got them 10x ROAS in like 2 days. Anyone knows that that's highly unlikely. It
Yeah.
doesn't sound truthful. This is Disney World.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think just being more authentic
Mm.
is really a good start for it. And then as well, we can learn so much more from the things that don't work well.
Yeah.
And rather than just talking about the bad thing and then again, like patching it up to have this like positive story and just like, well,
Yeah.
actually, sometimes bad things happen and they are just bad and we
Yeah.
learn from it and we move on. And
Yeah.
the only real learning is that I'm not going to do that again. I've
Yeah.
got something in place to not.
Yeah.
Not everything needs to be this sort of Disney World, sort of story
Yeah.
where it's trials and tribulations and then the positive ending. Sometimes
Yeah.
just actually that was rubbish.
Yeah.
And I've learned not to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of things that goes on in the world, and it's important that we give that true picture, because we then, fail the people, the newer generation coming in, trying to join paid search, thinking that, oh my God, it's going to be an easy way for me to do stuff. Nothing's going to go. And then when something goes wrong, they feel like they're an absolute failure and could quit the
Mhm,
industry. So yeah, it's very important that we give a true picture about how this goes. And I touched on it earlier on, the way that you gave such great managerial skills here, there, and and protected your team. What's also a message to like managers to actually, help juniors not to be too afraid about, making a mistake, that it makes them not even test anything because they're
mm.
worried that they may make a mistake? What's your tip for managers to encourage their team to be willing to take
Mhm.
tests even though it might lead to a mistake?
Yeah, that's it. And I think it's a really tough one, especially again, agency side.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of pressure on managers and new managers. And, I took a few years before I got to manager level myself. I actually chose quite strategically to progress to senior exec before manager, which I think sometimes is missed out.
Yeah.
Well, I got to learn from a good manager before becoming a manager myself.
Yeah.
I felt like I was very ready for it. So I think just before managers sort of chase the extra bit of salary and chase that promotion, just, really make sure that you are ready for that
Yeah.
extra responsibility. Because I actually think that middle manager in a PPC team of, maybe 6 or 7 or larger is probably like the hardest job.
Mm.
So just because you're in the middle, you're doing the work and you're responsible for the work and you're
Yeah.
doing strategy too. So I think before you step into that role, make sure that you are really ready. And I think having the right people around you in terms of a senior that will support you is
Yeah.
really important. So they need the support and then really to give their team, people make more mistakes when they're anxious.
Yeah.
So if you make your exec or senior exec feel supported, that you're there with them on the journey, then they're going to make less mistakes.
Mm.
If you are riding them and that you're chasing them all the time and you're telling them negative things quite often, I don't think that's going to get the best out of them. So I think just creating a positive work environment and relationship with the juniors in your team that
Mm.
is more about learning. But, that's my style of being a manager. I'm more of a coach and that works for me. And I think you'll get better results out of people and they'll be quicker to move on from their mistake as well. Whereas if
Yeah.
they're in a negative mindset, they
Yeah.
do something wrong. And then inevitably, as a manager, you have to call them out on it and
Yeah.
show them to improve. If they're feeling down in the dumps already, they're gonna sit with that for longer. And in PPC world and agency world, you need them bouncing back and move forward
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah. Absolutely. That is such a great way, to approach that. Like, especially the whole, if you make your team feel anxious, the more mistakes they'll make. For sure.
Yeah,
That is such an important point. And also the fact that we're always just like, yeah, like, well, if I'm an executive, I need to be a senior exec, and then
yeah,
next a manager, and then an account director. It's
yeah,
almost like that whole template. And it's almost like the same way of like how we should not
yeah,
look at, what the template is for paid search, and because it can lead to the wrong way. Figure out what works well for you. Is the
yeah,
same way in terms of career in digital marketing, of like, figure out what's going to work well for you. Some people are not built to be people managers, and
no,
that is not a bad thing. Some people are just amazing, like individual, like topic managers. They know how to
mhm,
really deal with like a particular area of digital marketing, and they just want to be the best at that, and they know how to really drive the company forward by really implementing, a certain kind of like aspect of the department. And I think it's important that we realize the difference and not force everybody into that career of people managers when they don't necessarily want it or they don't need to. So yeah, don't necessarily always feel like you need to jump the already pre-stated, the fixed like career ladder that's already set for you. Actually figure out what works best for you. And that's how you succeed.
mhm.
Yeah, what did you say?
No,
Yeah.
just agreeing. Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
right? Amazing.
There's
You know
no
what? There is no rush, right? There is no rush, guys. Take your time. Make sure you're learning. You've learned everything in the area, in the level that you're in before
Mhm,
you want to go ahead, because
exactly.
yeah, more money, more troubles, more
Mhm.
issues, more problems, more
Honestly, that extra
responsibilities, right?
£5,000, £10,000, whatever it is, if you're not ready, it's not worth it. The
Yeah.
sleepless nights.
Yeah. Yeah, the working on a Saturday. You don't want to be doing that. Like, oh my God, right? Oh,
And now we
I
just do that for fun, Annie.
don't remind me. I plan on sleeping this Saturday. That is what I'm going to be doing this Saturday.
Good for
No,
you.
no Black Friday issues to be worrying about this season. Not yet, anyway. Not yet. Look, that has been such a fantastic chat,
Mhm.
Aisha. I was so grateful that you've been on this show with us to share that. But before we leave, we have a very lovely non-PPC question, just a nice chill. If your PPC career were a movie, what would the title be?
Well, luckily you sent the a question to me before because I've got hopefully quite a fun answer to this. So
Please.
mine would be kind of like a parody of 50 Cent's movie, which would be Get Clicks or Die Trying.
Hey, I mean, I don't know whether we should be dying trying to get clicks.
Yeah,
We're not
I like
saving
it.
lives here.
Yeah, so it'd be like a storyline of a PPC
Oh
battling
my God.
rising CPCs, dodging Google updates, bit of
Wow.
hustling for revenue and ROAS.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of jeopardy in there, but you sort of
Oh God.
prevail until the end.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, if you felt like that's what you've been doing, well, I can't be like, that's not your story. Get clicks or dying trying. Well, I'm glad that you've not died trying. I hope that you find a more chill way of getting through the industry.
Yeah, that's it.
But that's a really great title to leave us with. And where can people find you, and where next will we be seeing speak? You've done some fantastic speaking engagements as well on PPC Live. We're so grateful for that. So, but yeah,
Mhm.
where can people hear from what you're doing?
So you can find me on LinkedIn. Just my name, Aisha Youssef. I post regularly on there about different Google updates, test findings, etc. I will be at the next PPC Live with Anu in a few weeks in
Yay!
Shoreditch.
October 22nd, guys. Go buy your tickets.
That's it. And then I'll also be at SEM Stories up in Edinburgh. So if anyone is around in Scotland or fancies a trip up north, I will be speaking there in the thick of Q4.
Amazing. Yeah, and that's October 29th. I remember that date because that's also my birthday. So
I
I'm
know.
sorry I won't be able to cheer you on.
We'll
I'll
miss
be on a
you.
birthday trip, but I'm sure that, yeah, anyone who's around Scotland or thinking that, yeah, let me check out what Scotland is like, that's a great event to attend and you will not be disappointed, I'm sure about that. So anyway, on that note, thank you so much, Aisha, for joining us today. And yeah, I hope you guys have loved hearing her story.
Thank you, Anu. Really appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you, Aisha, so much for that great insight about the do's and don'ts of, the activities leading up to Black Friday, especially if you're a leader, especially if you're a manager. And amazing tips there from managers on how to really look after your team and not throw them under the bus when something goes wrong. I imagine that anyone else that is thinking, oh, where does Aisha work? I'd love to work there so that I work, so that she's my manager. Yeah, that is certainly a good thing to think about. Maybe go check her LinkedIn and try and find a way to join her team. Anyway, for all the information about that fantastic conversation and the full transcript, please go to podcast.ppc.live for the full episode and to leave any reviews or ratings on what you think, any feedback about this or any past episodes. We'd love to hear from you about what you think. So yeah, PPC Live is happening in 2 weeks. If you're listening to this on the day of our day of release on Wednesday, it's in 2 weeks exactly on the 22nd of October. So we hope that you can join us for that. Just go to ppc.live. We've got a fantastic location in Shoreditch with Tug Agency. We've got some fantastic speakers. We've got Basak Odemis, we've got Neil Baker and Stephanie Caldecott, who are going to be talking about a variety of ways to really prepare for 2026, whether it's testing, thinking about the future of PPC, or just how paid search works in the fantastic ecosystem of digital marketing up today. So you want to come for that. So yeah, just go to ppc.live for that. Before I leave you as well, I'd like to share that I'm also doing PPC mindset coaching. So if you want to go to themarketinganu.com, you'll be able to get details about how to book my time. Just you can have a free initial consultation meeting, but anything else about what you want to discuss and any challenges that you're having and just how to get out of your own way for amazing opportunities that could be lying ahead of you. Go to themarketinganu.com to book my time. I hope you've enjoyed that episode and I look forward to bringing more PPC F-ups and triumphs next week. Bye.